This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome back everyone. And we have been looking into the illustrative example over the last few videos. I hope things are becoming clear one after the other video that you're covering till now, because it's really important for you to understand things better. And in fact, I would say that the best part of this entire course that I've created is this illustrative example and the capstone project, because these are the sort of videos where you would be doing and learning. You are learning by doing stuff. It's not just by you're listening to some audio, or you're just watching some uh, you know course, and you're learning things. That is one way of doing it, but you learn better when you actually do. And these are the videos where it is more like a mutual efforts that are being put into. I share the inputs, and then you work on the assignments, and you get to analyze things on your own, and then come up with some additional value add that you can create. And that's really what you do at your work as a business analyst also. Okay, so I hope you're doing it. If you're not doing it, I urge you to spend enough time on working out all the wireframes or list of questions, documentation, etc. After doing this, when we get into capstone project, it becomes a much more detailed process where you need to create more of wireframes, more of documentation. And also when you do here, that will help you to take the things further in the capstone project. Okay, now coming back to our example, so we have looked into what a batch job runs, and how you have around requirement of around how much, 450 cumulatively, whereas you got stock of only 350. So how do you manage it? And in fact, if we get into further details, you also have to look at the specific content that you will share with the customer. First, as an acknowledgement, the moment the customer has expressed the interest, then what would you send as an acknowledgement over email or SMS? Then, if that particular product unfortunately has gone into end of life, then what is the message that you can share across in SMS and email and app notification? And when the particular product stock has got replenished, and you can complete the order for the customer, then what is the message that you send? And here, in fact, not just the message, you might also have to add a hyperlink back to the website, so that if I receive an SMS saying that, yes, Ranjit, this is a product that you have been looking for, we have got it back, now you can come back to our website and complete the purchase. Here's the link to click upon. Then what happens? I click that, and easily I get back to the specific screen where I was left earlier, and I can complete the purchase. Is it not making things a little easier for the customer? Of course, right? So that is one thing, right? So you may have to add the hyperlinks also. And in fact, we discussed in one of the earlier videos, when it is coming to the emails, you can make things a little bit more descriptive. You can add some images, and you can make it more informative for the customer. Okay. And so what you're getting to know is that, okay, based on every workshop that happens, you get to jot on the points, you share that as a minutes of meeting, get a confirmation on it, and then you focus on doing the actual documentation, which is BRD and an FRD in case of a waterfall methodology based project. And it would be in format of user stories if it is a agile project, right? So now today, let's look at a sample, functional requirement document that has been created earlier for this specific example itself. Okay, so that's what we'll try to take a look at right now. This is again, it is just an illustrative example. It doesn't mean that this is the exact way, or this is the only way. You can make it different, you can make it more informative, you can make it more appealing for the reader to go through and understand the points. Whatever makes the documentation easy to go through and follow the exact requirements, you can do all of those things. Of course, you first prepare an outline, discuss with stakeholders, and if they're agreeing with it, then you can follow that. This is what happens in waterfall. For agile, you don't have to even go into that level, because documentation is not at such a comprehensive level, and user stories you can create in such a way that it is providing all the information that is needed. Okay, now let's look at this sample document. So this is a functional requirement document. So here I'm starting with the version control. This section called version control, in fact, can be there either at the beginning of the document or it can be at the end of the document. Let me add the navigation pane so you'll get to know at a high level what are the different sections. Okay, so you have version control, which is nothing but let's say that you have shared your first, okay, let's say that for this particular feature itself you had around say 3 workshops or 4 workshops, and at the end of 4 workshops all the requirements that you have captured, you'll put it in a particular initial draft version of the business requirement document and you send it to the customer. Of course, at the end of every workshop, you have shared minutes of meeting, got multiple reviews of it, that and all is fine. But at the end of all workshops, you need to put all of those minutes of meeting related points together and create a requirements documentation, right? So that you create and you send it across. So the first version that you send, do you think that will be the final version? No, because again, there will be some things which are missing here and there which need to be sorted out and all. So the stakeholders might share the comments on the document. Based on that, you revise the document, send the second version of it. Again, it comes back to you with few more points to be changed, updated. Then you send the third version, so on and so forth. Now, after having done this to and fro process multiple times, if you want to track exactly which version was it where you made a specific change, it becomes a little difficult. So to avoid that, what you do is you create a version control table wherein you mention the date when a specific version was sent, who is the author. Here you'll add the business analyst name, your name if you are the BA, and then the description, what was done differently in that particular version. So for example, on 9th May, something was sent as an initial draft. Then on 14th May, a revised version was sent wherein few more changes were done in these particular sections of 3.0, 3.1.8 and 3.1.9. Similarly, 15th May something has happened, 24th of May something has happened, so on and so forth. Okay, if you see here, it is around 7 versions have gone through, and then finally that 7th version was the final version. You change it to 1.0 and created the signed off version. So this way you're trying to keep a log of changes that have been done in this document. And then there's something called as a review and sign off control, which is nothing but you mention the list of the stakeholders who have been part of the stakeholder management workshops and who gave you the requirements and who finally approved the document. Okay. After this comes the table of contents. So ideally, you should not be sitting down and typing all this table of contents and all these sections. You should rather use something called as where is it? References section and click on this to automatically create a table of contents once you have created all the other sections. Okay, you can spend some time on how to uh, create a proper Word document wherein you get to know these things. Okay, so version control we discussed, review and sign of control we discussed, table of contents, executive summary. So in executive summary, what happens is you mention a brief about the company, what is it into, and what is this project, just one line description. Then the purpose talks about the purpose of the document. What is this specific version, final version document going to give you the information about? Okay, that is something which is mentioned over here. This diagram you can actually, it's not a mandatory thing. It is just to give an idea like how the flow of information is happening. Like, first you have the FRD, from there you're creating the RTM, then technical design document, interface document, and test scripts. You can ignore it. You can just stick to what is the purpose of this document and mention those points. Talking about the scope, here the scope has been mentioned in this way because this was a very big project. And out of all of these things, we had to focus only on this thing in this particular document when all other things were, part of the earlier stuff. Any which ways, when you talk about scope, you can put it in another way wherein you can say in scope and out of scope. In scope, you mention all the points which are considered to be part of this project. You'll say that this is related to only smartphone segment, and this is related to providing the customer the service of notifying, getting notified when the product is back in stock, and few more things like that. Out of stock, you'll mention whatever is not considered to be part of the project. Okay, maybe like you're providing this feature only in the English language, or maybe you want to confine this only to one specific region. Okay, things like that. That is the scope section. Then glossary of terms, this would be required if you have any acronyms or abbreviations in your document. If there are nothing like that, then you can simply skip this. Now, what's the difference between abbreviation and acronym? Any idea? Okay, so abbreviation is nothing but you take the first letter of individual words and you put it beside each other and you call it as an abbreviation. Okay, for example, UNO, okay, United Nations Organization. Okay, now what have you done? You have taken the first letter of these three words, put it beside each other, and you're calling out those individual letters of the alphabet, UNO. So that becomes a abbreviation. Whereas uh, NASA, okay, NASA is what you have North Atlantic Space Agency or something like that is the full form of it. So you have picked up the first letters of each of these words, you have clubbed it together, and you have made a word out of it. You are not mentioning it as NASA. Rather, you have made a word out of it and mention it as NASA, right? So that becomes an acronym. Okay. So if you are using anything like that, you'll mention that over here. And then you have something called as assumptions and dependencies. Whatever assumptions you're making in the entire project, you can put it over here. If there's a dependency on some other system or some other things in the project for it to run very well, then you'll try to mention that in the dependency section. And then comes the heart of the document, which is the most important section of your entire FRD, which is nothing but your functional requirements section. Okay, so this is where you're actually talking about all the requirements. You might be wondering when I was discussing all of these things that, okay, Ranjit, what is this? You're telling all of these things, but where is this core requirements that I have captured in the minutes of meetings? So this is the answer. You speak about that or you document it in this section wherein you talk about it. So here if you see, I can see that there are two wireframes that have been added here, right? These are the wireframes. This is to give an idea like how it can look in the final journey for the customer. So here it is a little different because this could be a mobile version of the Notify Me. That's why you have this lengthy one, which you're focusing on the specific place where you'll add this hyperlink. So if you see here, you see this, it says out of stock, reserve slash notify me. This is the hyperlink. This is how it is going to look like, and this will be like blue in color, so you click on it and you get that pop-up window and all of those things. And what happens when you click on it? This is the pop-up window that is appearing, which says notify me when the item is back in stock. Want to receive an email notification? Then this, please enter your email address. This is how it is mentioned, but in our requirements we were discussing that we pick the email address from the account, we pick the phone number of the customer from the account, and keep the phone number editable, not the email ID, and display that in the pop-up window. So different ways, of course, and the end purpose is the same, but whatever works better, you try to document those particular things based on the confirmation that you receive. So after that wireframe, you are mentioning the requirements in a tabular format. Again, it could be in bullet format. You may use a use case diagram or a flow chart initially to talk about end-to-end flow, like customer logs in, searches for a product, then goes to the product details page, identifies the notify me link, clicks on the notify me link, gets the pop-up window, then receives an acknowledgement email and SMS, then waits for the order to be stock to be replenished, and then receives a notification that the order is replenished, clicks on the hyperlink in the SMS and email, and comes back to the product details page and clicks on the payment section and receives the order confirmation. So this is the entire flowchart. How about putting this flowchart, all those boxes together, creating that process flow, and then talk about requirements? You can do that. Okay, as long as things become clearer, whatever way it becomes clearer, you can use that approach. So here if you see, it is more like a bullet points format in a tabular format, all the points numbered. So you're saying the event if notify me is turned on, then how it should look like, and what should happen when the customer clicks on it, enforce the user to log in if not logged in, then direct the user to that Y1 login if it is not logged in. After login is done, bring them back to this product details page, and then there what you're saying is, you're saying should display an overlay message, which is nothing, a pop-up window. Okay, and then you're saying notified via SMS, which could be optional. And then here if you scroll down, you're actually mentioning what exactly will be the message in the SMS that is going to be sent to the customer. System shall allow the okay, return to otherwise okay, there should be a success message. This is on the pop-up window, sorry. So this is what is shown to the customer in the window: submission successful, and this is the message. And also you're saying there should be an email, and you're telling how the email content should be. Where if you see here, it says include image of variant and the variant name. You can include the image in an email. This is an email. Whereas when it comes to SMS, you see here, the message of SMS, you're saying SMS content, it should just have this one line. That's it. We have received your request. We'll let you know as soon as this particular variant is back in stock. No image. SMS doesn't have an image. Okay. So you put this message, then you're saying what should happen in failure scenario, what should be the message to be shown on the pop-up, and then when that particular product is when stock is there, then what is the message that you send to the customer. Your email will be something like this: good news, we know you have been patiently waiting, item is back in stock, stocks are limited, and this email is not a guarantee you'd get one, so hurry now to book your purchase. So you're creating a sense of urgency so that customer will definitely click on that, include the buy now button. This is the hyperlink that I'm talking about. So you create a buy now button in the email itself, the customer clicks on it, comes back to the product details page and finishes the purchase. Okay. What should happen on clicking on the hyperlink? What if in the event if that is not no longer valid, then what is message that you display? In SMS, how are you going to do it? If you see here the message of SMS, it says the same thing, and there'll be a hyperlink, no button, that is a hyperlink here, and there's no image here. Okay. This is in the case of product being available for the customer to make the purchase after getting notified. Then end of life. Remember we spoke about those products which are obsolete and no more manufactured and no more available in the market. What do you do? So you'll send a message like this saying you're sorry to let you know that stock is not going to come. Similarly, what will be the SMS for it? That has been included here, and that's it. So these are the list of points that have been. So here, if you see a simple notify me link, that had how many 11, 12 odd points to be discussed, and not a single line in this is talking about something which is like two verbose, which doesn't make sense, or it is not supposed to be elaborated so much. It's not like that. Each and every line adds a point which is really relevant for the business team to agree upon, and then for the developers and the testers to look into. So this is how you create a functional requirement document. Your business requirement document also will be similar to this. That will also have an executive summary, that will also have the scope, assumptions, dependencies, but there you don't get into the details about the requirements. You'll just mention the business requirements at a high level, and that closes it. Whereas FRD will get into the, you know, digging deep into all the information and sort of documenting it. Okay. So this is how a business or a functional requirement document will look like. We can in fact look at the user stories, but let's do it in the next video. Okay. So again here, what I want you to do right now is to uh, take a look at it, try to recall what all sections have been mentioned here, what is the purpose of each of these sections, and how it really adds value to your document. And maybe you can think about it. You can think about what are the additional things that can be part of this document to make it even more informative. As I suggested, you can talk about a flow chart, you can talk about a use case diagram, you can talk about adding all the screenshots, the wireframes, all the wireframes, not just few. And all of these things can be done. Maybe if you have something else that comes to your mind, you can think of adding that also. The end objective of your document is to make things as clear as possible. So whatever really helps in that perspective, you can do that. Okay. So we'll look into the user stories, and also we'll take a look at the test cases if possible in the next video. We'll stop this one here. Thanks everyone.